We are going live. Hey guys, we're back again. Just when you thought you got rid of us, which is really our fault because what happened was one of the stories we were going to talk about was Hasbro potentially leaving Toei, and we forgot to do it.
Oh
So
no! Well, that's
we're
okay.
back.
Like Jaws, we just keep coming back.
But yeah, so wanted to throw this out there really quickly because this is actually a really interesting story for Power Ranger and Super Sentai fans alike. Again, I am Approach the Nerd. This is my friend at Joe's Geek Show. Check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe. He does awesome comic reviews as well as dresses in awesome costumes and is very animated and very likable person. So check him out and subscribe. All right. So, first of all, I guess what we need to really ask is this real news? Because I've seen a lot of video, like comments on videos that are talking about this, where they said there's nothing confirmed, which I don't see anything confirmed either. But I don't see anything coming out saying that it's not confirmed. Like Hasbro hasn't said anything, Toei hasn't said anything. So, them leaving is a big deal. So, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, yeah, absolutely. I can definitely agree with the fact that while the news is intriguing, definitely nothing's confirmed. However, these rumors have gotten quite large. I mean, I've seen them in the Power Rangers communities on Facebook, Twitter. Everybody's talking about it, and despite it making the rounds, Hasbro and Toei have not come out with any official statements to confirm nor deny them. So it's definitely a very interesting idea. I mean, to think that quite possibly we could only be getting 2 more seasons of Power Rangers either ever or just Power Rangers as we know it, because there are just so many different ideas out there floating around. I mean, I know I've heard people talk about the idea that, okay, well, Hasbro just doesn't find Power Rangers to be profitable, so they're like, okay, well, we'll just cancel out with Toei, call it a day on Power Rangers. However, from my perspective, I'm just kind of looking at it as I don't think Hasbro would have spent so much money on the IP to acquire it just to have essentially 4 seasons of a show and then just quietly go out, which gives way to like the second idea of what could be happening was I believe it was either late last year or early this year. Boom Studios had announced that they're going to be working with Nickelodeon and Netflix to start producing some of their comic books as shows. And so, of course, one of the biggest ideas and one of the biggest IPs that Boom Studios has currently is the Power Rangers comic book. And that has given way to the idea that quite possibly we could be seeing a Power Rangers animated series based on those same Boom Studios comic books, which I absolutely would love that idea if they did that, because Boom Studios writes some amazing Power Rangers comic books. I'll say hands down, actually, they have done more and much better with the Power Rangers IP in comic book form than any other company that preceded them, even like, when they were with Marvel Comics and stuff like that. So it's I think it's a very interesting discussion to have, because you also got to figure, we have had Power Rangers since 1993, like, like 23, 24, 25 years, something like that. It's always existed within a certain format. There's always been a status quo to how these shows are to be produced. And, to think that could be changing is very, very interesting. I don't know. What do you think?
So I agree with that. I'm also a lifetime Sentai fan. I love Super Sentai. I actually saw Sentai before I saw Power Rangers, because my very first series ever was 5-Man. I got 5-Man on VHS from a friend who lived in Japan, and I was like, this is amazing. So I fell in love with Super Sentai before I actually got into Power Rangers. It's just really interesting because this, on the one hand, it's bad because we won't get an American adaptation of any other Sentai shows already that they've already done, or any that they will potentially do, which means we'll be missing out on a lot of really cool series. But it also opens the door to doing a more original take of Power Rangers, because you see other countries like the Philippines, Korea, all of them have like their own versions of Power Rangers that have nothing to do with Toei. So we have that ability. We have the technology, so we could do our own take on Power Rangers. Now, it would be interesting if we just did animated. like we didn't do a live action series. I think I would miss that. Like my friend Blurred said, I'll miss the spandex, because you will. I mean, it's just something that you're used to with Power Rangers. But I don't know why they couldn't do both. And I think, aren't they still trying to make the movie, the Power Rangers movie that they were talking about rebooting?
I remember when Hasbro announced it, I have not heard of them canceling the film. But at the same time, I haven't seen anything else come about it since the announcement. No production stills, no casting calls, anything to that degree. Obviously,
well, to be fair, though, we are under COVID pandemic. We probably aren't going to get anything from.
I figure though, at least during the casting process, that could still be done online for the most part. So even to that effect, like it's still like I said, it's a very interesting. It's still a very interesting position that Hasbro is definitely in. Just because it's like, are they going to be the company that's responsible for killing Power Rangers as we know it? Because on one hand, I read the rumors, and on one hand, I'm like, no, I hate this. I just don't want it to happen, because I have fallen in love with Power Rangers as it is. Even the worst season imaginable has its shining moments, especially when you are a Sentai fan, like we are, where we can even sometimes be like, oh, hey, look at that was from Sentai. That's from Sentai, or sometimes my wife and I will be watching Power Rangers and we'll be joking, where it'll have a transition between the American footage and the Sentai footage, like the American footage, a punch is thrown and then it gets kicked into the Sentai footage. And it's just kind of like, I knocked you so hard, it knocked you into the Sentai. So, that's, I would definitely miss those kinds of aspects about it. But at the same time, being able to make a Power Rangers show without the constraints of, of the Sentai footage, and being able to actually come up with actual stories, from the minds of, writers and stuff like that, again, without the limitations and constraints of the Sentai footage, could definitely be interesting. I do remember several years ago, I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube if you want to go check it out, there was a trailer or test footage done when Disney actually owned the IP. When they had canceled RPM, they were actually going to do a CGI animated movie for Power Rangers. And again, this is cool, actually. I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube, and that was the idea, that they were just going to let go of the series as we know it and go in in a more original direction. Which the footage that was done was actually really interesting. I really liked the idea, and I would like to think that we could still do both, but I'm sure Hasbro as a company is kind of like, in their mind, it's like we might be able to do a little bit more with the property if we're not held back. Plus, I do have to always consider and wonder, Toei as a company as well, and what kind of limitations they even put the Power Rangers team under as well. Because I had recently, again, I watch it every so often because I really like it, is Linkari's History of
Power Rangers. You watch a lot of Power Rangers. You're on Netflix watching it all the time.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. No, we're going through Power Rangers in Space right now. We're almost finished with it after just basically about a week. Just because I love it so much. But yeah, I was watching Linkari's History of Power Rangers, and he even brought up during the Megaforce, Super Megaforce seasons in his video. And again, this is sort of rumor mill, grain of salt kind of thing, is that, one of the reasons that that particular show was so uneven was, bouncing back between the Goseiger and the Gokaiger footage, was that they're not allowed to skip Sentais. All right. Yeah. So
they can't skip characters either, is what you were telling me. I remember.
Yeah. So essentially, if we were to believe that and say, okay, this is undeniable fact, because I'm sure there are some kind of contractual obligations that the American team has to apply when adapting Sentai footage, because it's a purchase. It's a purchase. Yeah. It's a contract. There's deals, So to that effect, it's like, it's quite possible Hasbro, after buying Power Rangers, is also looking at the contract and looking at the deals and just kind of like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the best route for us, and we should attempt to, go in our own direction. I mean, because as a company and stuff, I mean, you look at what they've done with, say, the Transformers, say what you will about the movies, not being the greatest thing ever, but those are like $1 billion. That's a $1 billion industry right there. They turn Transformers into a household.
With that, $1 billion industry, I guess I'm really curious. So answer this for me. How does that affect the conventions? You have all the Power Ranger conventions, and IP is tricky. So how will, like MMPR, for instance, we'll just use that. So we have, I know some actors that normally get really, really heavy into is Aisha's actress, Karen Ashley, goes to a lot of conventions. I know Catherine Sutherland, Kat's actress, goes. How would they be able to keep promoting? Because, they sell like the shirts with like the suits on them and, all of the memorabilia that looks, it's basically originally Sentai. Would that be off the table if it was true too? Like, would they not be able to release any merchandise, toys, anything anymore if they lost the IP completely with Toei? Like, how would? Because I'm not really sure if there's an expiration date. If going forward that would be a thing, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a really big. If this is true, it's a really going to affect a lot of stuff. There's a lot of broad implications if they really are getting rid of Toei.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just from an ownership standpoint, I mean, you got to think if they take away, if they do completely cut the contract, now does Hasbro have to retroactively go in and remove all Sentai footage from every single season because they technically
anytime
don't.
It airs, like probably didn't have to do it on the DVDs, like maybe prior to that release date when it was, like the dead end or when they had the IP contract. But anything aired forward probably would have to be edited heavily. Like
edited forward for sure, and I do wonder about past. Now, I'm wondering if there's something in the contracts because, I mean, even when they do use Sentai footage, of course, now they have, they redub them and stuff like that. So, you have the American actors and stuff on there, and of course, Toei doesn't own that, So I'm actually, it's really interesting because I'm wondering where that fine line exists between, Saban, Disney, and Hasbro's ownership of the IPs. And also, how much of the property Toei owns, because we all know also that, once Power Rangers is done, that also gets packaged up and that airs in Japan also. So, every year they get to watch Sentai and then they get to turn around and watch Power Rangers. Yeah, we can't get any Sentai on TV here, can we?
I know. We are kind of gypped anyway. But
I know, exactly.
So let's talk about animated though. So like we're talking about how Boom Studios has amazing, amazing comics. Like I think you even told me about one. I've read some, but I'm not as far caught up as you. But you were telling me about the Psycho Rangers, which I think are very underrated villains, and I think they should be in a lot more. So the potential of having a entire arc animated with the Psycho Rangers, that's actually very cool. I would be down with that. But does that mean I have to take that in lieu of also having a live action show? So it's
possible. It's just we don't know what a non-Toei Power Rangers, like post Toei Power Rangers, would even look like at this point. And I do agree. Yeah, I mean the stories lend themselves to animation fairly well. I mean the artwork alone is just absolutely like was it Daniel Di Nicuolo does the art. And it's just so animated and looks so good and would lend itself to animation just perfectly. And even, the Psycho Rangers, just the other day, I released a review for Power Rangers, The Psychopath, and the trade paperback. And that was such a good story because it just deepens the lore on the Psycho Rangers so much, and expands Power Rangers mythology in such a good way. And, and it's something that just would not be possible with the constraints of adhering to Sentai footage. So, definitely, if that is the direction that Hasbro would like to go, if this is absolutely 100% true, and Hasbro and Toei come out and say, yes, we are indeed separating, and Hasbro's like, okay, no more Power Rangers as we know it, but if that's the direction they'd want to go with animation, it would take some getting used to, but I would totally be on board with it also. Because, like I said, the writing is, I'd say the writing over at Boom Studios is probably the first time I've ever seen them actually take Power Rangers and take it seriously.
Yeah, I liked RPM scripts. Actually, except for the part where they were making fun of the Zord's eyes, because of course when you
Well,
honestly
yeah,
in
I mean,
the
go
Japanese
on,
Sentai, you know, Bokanger, they not Bokanger. Why
go
do I
on,
keep
Drew.
saying Bokanger? They're alive. The cars talk. But of course, when we bring it over to the States, normally, like Beast Morphers shocked me that they actually kept the Buddy
The
Zord.
Buddy Roid.
Yeah, because they normally don't do that ever. Like they didn't do that for Opera Ranger when we had Dino Thunder. So yeah, I was pretty shocked by that. But like besides RPM saying, "Oh, why?" Because I think it was even the Green Ranger that says, "Why do they blink?" You know, it's like, and why is it when I pose, there's an explosion behind me? Could that happen in the kitchen? That was hilarious. I'm sorry, that was actually really funny.
Oh no, yeah, no, Ziggy was great.
But Ziggy was amazing. But I really agree with you. I think that they don't. It's not. I don't even know if it's not taking it seriously. I think they really thought they were in Power Rangers Samurai. Like I think they thought they were. It just didn't work.
I'm talking more specifically in the comic book space.
Oh, in comic books. Okay. Well,
yeah,
in the TV series, a lot of
the shows have taken a lot of the shows have taken themselves relatively serious.
Yeah, there have been moments though. I mean, you can't help it because you're trying to appeal to a kid's audience too. Even though honestly, I think more adults watch it than children do.
I would. Yeah, I will die on that hill too. I will agree to that. I probably see more adults talking about Power Rangers than children. You know, which is kind of funny when you think about it.
Well, I mean, but it appeals to like your childhood. You know, even when you're an adult, you don't just want to watch adult shows. You want to watch things like Power Rangers that make you feel good and young. So that's why we watch these series. Plus, we're amazed that the spandex can hold out that long. That is why we watch Power Rangers. But I don't know. I'm looking at some of the comments, and like there are a few of them that are pretty cool. So first of all, Kevin, I do agree with you, and I think I already told you that. I know people are freaking out about this, but I am not buying into it until I see more credible sources report. I agree, 100%. That's why I always say on this channel, probability, speculation. I don't know. I don't work for these companies, so yeah, we are all talking speculation here. Plus, remember back in the day when MMPR did the whole non-Sentai action footage, it was cringy, yes, but I mean So they really could do a good job because RPM has had some, not RPM, Beast Morphers has had some original fights and they actually were pretty good. Yeah. Hasbro, I think, could do a good job if they really wanted to. That's the thing, you have to want to put in the effort. So I think they could. It's just they would have to come up with their own plots, their own suits, which again, they could do. But I mean, it comes down to money. So do they want to invest all that money in something? And if what the rumors are saying are true, they may not even think that the IP is worth it. I don't know. But I'm down with animated. I think I think animation would be good. But let's see.
It'd be an interesting transition for sure. You know, and it's just like, you know, convincing the entire Power Rangers community to get on board with it might be a little tough at first. But at the end of the day, if it's true and say the animation is extremely well done, I mean, who's not going to jump on board?
Yeah, well, Kevin Jones has an idea that maybe they should do a PR done anime style.
Yeah, I would agree with an animated or anime style Power Rangers. Like I said, like even Daniel Di Nicuolo's art in the Mighty Morphin books are like they feel like relatively anime in themselves.
It kind of feels like, yeah, I guess I could kind of see that because I know they did X-Men anime. They did there's another one of our American cartoons that's going to come to me that was done really, really well as an anime, and I'm going to think of it. I could see it. I really could. Especially if they do artwork alongside of like, you know, like One Punch Man or something on that level of fighting, like fighting style anime. I could totally get into that. But again, unfortunately, the hardcore, and when I say hardcore, every type of fandom has what I call the OG extremists. Star Trek, like Trekkies are an example. You can love Star Trek, but there are people that like sleep, eat, and breathe Star Trek, and they are very protective of a property that technically they have never owned in their lives. So Power Rangers is on that. It's such an interesting thing because now we all know about the Sentai that came before Power Rangers, but when Power Rangers first came out, people didn't. And when you tried to tell someone, oh, this is actually Japanese, originally from Japan, they wanted to fight. No, this is Power Rangers, MMPR. Japan copied us, so we got extremists in every group. So I think that I think it's going to be a really hard pill to swallow if this is true.
Yeah.
Because some people are not going to be accepting of that. They're just not. They want their spandex. They want their live action cheesy MMPR music. They that we're still using, in 2020. Go Power Rangers is never going away, and it's going to be incorporated in every form of Power Rangers from here out.
Oh God, yeah. That theme is too. It's too much. It's so ingrained in pop culture. Like, there's no way that song would ever go anywhere in any capacity. I mean, heck, it's even gotten to a point where, like, some have even speculated that they've even slightly heard it in certain things of Sentai.
Yeah. Well, remember in actually, there's been a lot of references in Sentai from America, but in Go Busters, don't they say it's morphin time? When they
they do. It's morphin time. The enemies in their large forms are called Megazords and stuff like that, which is really, really interesting. But I was talking like even in terms of like some of the music too, like in Go Kaiger and stuff. There's that segment of the song where they're just like go, 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 go.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
People point that out and it's like, yeah, well, could it be a reference? Yeah.
And just so we're all clear, I know I've said this in many videos, Go Kaiger is my favorite Sentai ever. And I have seen every, I'm not exaggerating, every version of Sentai. Everyone's why I have to think about names, because I've seen all of them. I probably own the VHS and DVD of so many Sentais, like collections. I even have a morpher behind me on my shelf. You can't see it. I have Maji Ranger. I have Maji Red's morpher. I actually have Hurricane Blue's jacket. I have I think I have Ren from Geki Ranger. I have Geki Ranger's outfit, and I have I have Bokangers. I have Bokanger's action figure, and then I have a bunch of like Deca Ranger stuff because why not? So I love Sentai. I mean, whenever my friends go to Japan, they know to get me Sentai stuff, Sailor Neptune stuff, or like a slew of other cool animated stuff that they must buy for me because I'm too poor to buy for myself. So I collect Sentai. I love it.
Hey, I feel that. I mean, I myself, I've got the Legend Mo Byret from Go Kaiger.
I want that.
I've got the Go Buster Henshin device. I've got the Mini Tira from Kyurojin. It's like, yeah, I mean, I love Sentai myself, it's just so much cool. And also, even when it comes to like playing Power Rangers, it's like I'd rather play with the Sentai toys because they're cooler, man. I mean, they do more.
I mean, true. I think most of the weapons that I've seen come over not only had the voices pre-recorded, but they had better sound effects. So yeah, I gotta admit,
and just also highly more functional. I mean, I remember when Super Megaforce came out and they released the Legend Morpher or whatever it was called in Super Megaforce, and like I compared it to my Mobile, I'm just like, this is horrible, man.
Well, first of all, you said Mega Ranger. That is the show that shall not be named. Megaforce, should I say, not Mega Ranger?
Yeah, Mega Ranger's fine. We like Mega Ranger.
Yeah, we like Mega Ranger. We don't like Megaforce. But so then you got me thinking about the toys. If this is true and Hasbro has gotten, or basically is separating from the IP, does that mean that all the toys have to stop as well?
Yeah, because you figure like the Lightning Collection. I mean, there's still a whole bunch of stuff coming out for that too. Like we're about to get the Red Ranger Legacy or Lightning Collection helmet released. We're about to get an entire pack of the 5 Psycho Rangers, which I don't want that so bad. I mean, there's still so much planned for.
Yeah, and like the release dates are coming really quickly, but what happens in production?
I mean, part of me, I don't know. I mean, part of me pretty much thinks like if this is accurate and this is true and this is something that is going to happen, I mean, the fact that we're about to get Dino Fury here and we're going to get 2 seasons of that, we probably won't hear anything from Hasbro or Toei until like probably the curtail or end of or right about the middle of the 2nd season of Dino Fury. So we could still be a couple years off from actually finding out the truth of this entire rumor here.
Yeah, it's just very confusing. Like, we have come so far with Hasbro. I mean, we thought and this, it was always going to be like on the fence. We didn't know if Hasbro was going to do a good job because, when Saban left, and honestly, guys, I'm going to be real with you. Neo Saban is not my favorite. It's just not.
I will defend the first season of Dino Charge. That is all I can defend out of that entire run. I mean, and that was just, like 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 seasons.
Yeah, like I never understood. Power Ranger Samurais never gave an explanation of why none of the samurais were Japanese descended. Because samurais.
Well, because you can't stick the Yellow Ranger or you can't stick an Asian in the Yellow Ranger suit here in the States. It's bad.
Samurai from the trailer park. No, but no. Like, I think I don't know. I always feel like we do a really good job of trying to adapt the series that they give us. Because again, we don't live in Japan. Some of those shows are so highly Japanese cultured that it's hard to translate that to American culture and keep the same weapons and the same types of stories. So I know that sometimes they have to like go away from, the canon, and then it's kind of sloppy at times. Like, honestly, guys, Power Ranger Samurai was sloppy. It just was. It was very sloppy. But I do agree with you. Dino Charge, first season, I liked. Second season, not so much. I don't know what really happened in the second season. They could really kind of drop the ball on that show.
Yeah, I think that just lended to more of the reality of, it's like, dang, the first season was just so good. How do we follow up with that? It's just really tough. And yeah, I mean, even Judd Lin, he was given control of Power Rangers after Jonathan Zakor was let go after the abominable failure that was the Megaforce, Super Megaforce era. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened with that. It was crazy. It's like, you had, and it's something
like they didn't have like other properties they could have picked, right? Like, when you look at Power Ranger Samurai, you could have just backtracked. You didn't have to do Shinkanger. You could have done anything. They've had years and years of series they could have adapted that would have fun. You could have done Flashman. You could have done Masked Man. You could have done any of these shows. You chose the one Japanese eccentric, Japanese cultured, samurais are in history books.
Well, I know Jonathan Zakor. Who was like the big producer at the time over there and stuff like that. He was basically in charge of the whole thing. Like, it was no secret. He was absolutely in love with Shinkanger and thought it was so perfect that there was no reason to change even basic story elements and stuff like that. I mean, again, there's rumors that that he got upset at one of the workers for even suggesting about putting a gaming system in the Samurai Rangers base, just because he wanted it as like, he wanted it as Shinkanger as possible and as Japanese as possible.
But yeah, he cast no one Japanese, not anyone. Like, if he had made the Red Ranger Japanese and then he just gave these people morphers because his people had died, and he's like, well, you are now the Samurai Rangers. I got no other choice. Where where were they? No, they weren't in Turtle Beach. I don't know where they were, but wherever they were, I'm stuck here. I need people to help me fight. Bam. Here are your morphers. Not, I've been a samurai descendant for generations. How? I'm like, you're from the trailer park. I don't know where the hell you're from. The one Asian in it is Korean. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. So it's like, really, if I had been writing the story, and I think we talked about this. I know we talked about this. I literally would have had everybody who was a Samurai Ranger, their great grandmother or grandfather or whatever, probably did something to aid the original team, and they passed it on out of courtesy, and they took over because maybe their last, samurai team were the last descendants of their families. I would have been okay with that. I'm like, yeah, we got our stuff by being brave, and we are a long history of brave people. And then they would literally take on the retainer role because they would be retainers. And that's pretty much what they were in Shinkanger. They were Takaru's retainers. That would have made sense to me. But no, my sister was supposed to be the ranger and she's sick. So I had to come in her place. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that was insanely crazy. Like even Kevin, for example, I was like, the Blue Ranger, I was like, there was such a very interesting story opportunity there. Because I don't know if you've heard the story of like, what was it? Like the first Black Samurai in Japan, like, years ago and stuff like that. I'm like, it would have been interesting if they played off that in some particular fashion for his character. And also kind of give a little interesting history thing going too.
Well, yeah, but like, and then also you have to be like, and we're always trying to be PC with each other. I know sometimes it's hard, but we try not to offend each other. Well, you just took an entire culture's actual, like, literal alphabet, hiragana, katakana, and kanji, and made them into power symbols. So nobody else can use this language. So then what happens when somebody comes from Japan and is like, oh, arigato, and they write it down. Oh, crap, he just wrote power symbols out. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Samurai definitely did not lend itself well to, that was one of the seasons that did not lend itself well to Power Rangers and stuff. And I agree. The biggest solution of all would have been that the original retainers were wiped out. You guys are all we got, pretty much. That would have been far more interesting.
The original ones, just pass it on to them. Thank you for helping us. Like, everyone got helped by somebody in some way, and as a reward, I choose you to take the power. Just like Turbo, when the original Turbo cast, Kat and Tommy and them pass it on to Cassie and TJ and all them. That I would have been okay with, but I don't know.
Totally.
No, but even still, Power Ranger Samurai was not as atrocious as Megaforce. Just throwing it out there. And Megaforce never happened in my world.
Before I go through Megaforce and Superman, especially Super Megaforce, that one was just plain. That show was just a plain insult.
I stopped watching it. I was done after the whole, well, we got new powers like from other places that we don't know. They're great and strong. Shut up. Like, just shut up. Stop.
Hey, don't forget about that great Legend War.
I think it lasted like 6 minutes, right? I have a vision of this 6-minute battle.
It was not long at all. And I'm just like, and also like, I loved the attention or lack of attention to detail in the final one, because like, even when they were doing like all of the lineups, like, oh, it's the Mighty Morphin team, it's this team, it's that team, they tried to do their best with, making sure there weren't multiple Tommies or anything like that, but you still had like multiple TJs, multiple Cassies, like pretty much the Turbo Space, the entire Turbo Space era.
Taking her helmet off, and it's like, wait, what's happening?
It's like, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you even had Cassie come up as the Pink Space Ranger, and I'm like, well, then which Pink Ranger's over with the Turbo team?
And that's the thing. It could not have been Kimberly and MMPR, because that would have been Kat, since she gave up her power. So, yeah, who was Zeo?
Yeah,
who was Zeo Pink?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even if it was Kimberly in the MMPR, then it still would have been Kat and Zeo, and Cassie's still in space. Turbo's still the odd man out there. Who's in the suit?
It is. And then when they did the other crossover in Ninja Steel, wasn't Kat Zeo there?
Yep.
She wasn't Turbo, which makes no sense because they didn't have the Zeo crystals. You know what? No, we're just going to stop there. We're going to stop. Because see, that's where the continuity goes crazy. So we're going to leave that alone.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Ultimately, in the very beginning, we'll see. Then that's the thing. In the very, very beginning, the fact that they did not want to change the suits and change the actors every season, that is ultimately what led to continuity error at the very end. If they would have just changed the theme and changed the suits every single season and changed the actors, just like Sentai did, it would not have been anywhere near as messy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I don't know what they do in the boardroom. It's kind of like what I think happens with Bryan Singer, because I'm not a Bryan Singer fan. You know how he puts like characters of X-Men on a board and he just gets a dart and throws it. And he's like, what's that one's name? Cool, I'm going to put that in the movie. Well, do you know anything about them? I don't need to know. I just know they're going to be in the movie. Like, that's what I think happens in Power Rangers. It's like, oh, what's this theory? Okay, cool. We're going to write that down right there. And then they just roll. And then they just mess everything up. So now we're not saying that every Power Ranger series is unenjoyable, because like you, I enjoyed Power Rangers in space because I was a Mega Ranger fan. So I literally liked Power Rangers in space a lot. Now, to be fair, Mega Rangers, they weren't riding around on a spaceship. That was actually their Zord. You know, they were in high school in Mega Ranger. They actually went to class.
There's Zord that also looked like a spaceship, which is fairly interesting.
Yeah, and unlike Power Rangers in space and the previous versions, the villains didn't wait for them to finish school to attack them. They actually got attacked during school hours. You know, they had to go and run out of class. You know,
which I'm sure they appreciated too.
Yeah, and their parents seemed to care about them, so they didn't have to worry about being in space, and their parents never asking where they are, or why they're not in school anymore, because that's Power Rangers plot holes right there. As a mother, I would want to know why my child hasn't been home for 6 months. Oh, she's just in space. I don't know she's a Power Ranger, but she's just flying around space on a spaceship.
She's in space hanging out with other humans, and as far as I know, one alien guy that she may or may not, you know, be in a relationship with.
If I ever do a parody video, guys, it's going to be the good parenting of Power Rangers. I'm just going to break it all down. Why all of these people.
Totally. But here you go. But what was it? Here's a little Power Rangers fun fact. What is it? I was playing, because I play the game Battle for the Grid, and they had like to put out these little facts and stuff like that. And at one point during the loading screen, it came across that out of all out of the entire original Mighty Morphin team, Billy was the only one with perfect attendance.
How?
I don't know, but apparently it's a Power Rangers fact.
See, when I'm quiet, you should get nervous. Yeah, guys, very, very in the future, you will have a top 10 what the hell Power Rangers video coming from me, because what the hell? I mean, what? Okay, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. But hey, you know what, though? It could be true, because again, with MMPR, Rita did not attack them from 8 to 3:30. It was only from 3:30 to 6. It was never nighttime until we got the MMPR movie. You never saw them at night. They never were out at night. They would walk home. They'd have the same little swing set in the park they would fight with putties at, or they'd be hanging out at the juice bar with Ernie. There was never a fight. When it was dark, they did not walk home in the dark by themselves. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they carpooled, but Kim had a car. She had a flying car, didn't she? At some part, or Billy had a car. Somebody had a car that.
No, they had the Rad Bug, which was a flying car before they established teleporting.
Yeah, but see, that's why you don't need to hate on Rita Repulsa, because she respected raising your kids right and going to school.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to make sure your enemies have a good night's rest. That's just fact.
Yep. Have to sleep, have to get their tests in. They can't flunk. They got to go to college. So yeah. Yeah. I just can't. Yeah, So Joe, I think you're going to be in this video with me. We're going to tear apart some Power Rangers, because we love Power Rangers. Again, we are not hating on them.
With a passion.
Crazy. But yeah, so Hasbro. So I know we've been talking a lot. Let's go back to the comments, because you guys have been blowing it up, and we love it. We love it. We love it.
Yes.
We will talk, guys. Let's see here. But remember back in the day when MMPR did the whole non-Sentai action footage, it was cringy. We already talked about that. And yes, I agree with you. Power Rangers has nearly gotten canceled like 5 times. I think we read that one too. I don't think Power Rangers getting canceled until we see like a final battle. Well, Carson, I'm gonna be real with you. That depends on what you consider a final battle.
Well, I'd say Countdown to Destruction qualifies as a final battle, and that is still like the finalist of all final battles.
Yeah, I don't think we've had anything on that level, honestly. Even Megaforce, which should have been on there.
Megaforce attempted to do like, and it's actually really interesting because when you watch Countdown to Destruction and then you go watch, Super Megaforce at the very end, they're really trying to hit it beat for beat. It is insane, but it just ends off coming off as a parody of Countdown to Destruction.
Well, and I told you how to fix Megaforce, which I know is hard. I don't blame the actors, guys. The actors are fine, except for what was his name?
Troy.
Troy, thank you. The one that can't. I don't even know if he can act. He's just so wooden that his face doesn't move, and it scares me.
Come on, guys! A ranger never drops their weapon. Rangers like, forever, Megaforce together.
Troy is not blinking. Run! But so remember at the end of Megaforce. My theory was this. I stand by. I have said it in one of our previous videos. I really think they would have been able to save this show if they lost that battle. They lost, and half of the world was wiped out, and they had one shot to go back in time and fix it, but they had to go to all of the previous Rangers and get them to lend them their powers to fight in the last battle, but they couldn't tell the Rangers why. Then you get the whole Gokaiger misunderstanding. Oh, they're pirates. They don't care about anything, trying to get the grand powers, or the treasures, basically. It would have been the same plot, only they would have been Americanized, and it would have worked because it would have made freaking sense.
That is it, too. Yep. Just say, Oh, I mean, even so, all you had to do is just say, "Oh, the Ghost Ager powers, they were wiped out. You can't use them anymore. Now you have to use these ones."
I like mine better. I like traveling around and
meeting. Oh yeah, yours is definitely better
because it gives them a reason to actually.
Well, because the only reason I say that too is because I honestly think after watching Megaforce and Super Megaforce, they wouldn't have put in that kind of work.
Well, they did have what's his name from Jungle Fury, the Red Ranger. He was in it. And instead of having them all just come up at the final battle that they were able to get, I mean, they could go see Lightspeed Rescue and get, from Dana and what's his name? Why is his name Carson? Is it Carson?
Carter.
Red Ranger. Carter. Thank you. His name always escapes me. Get their power, get them to lend powers, and then go see Jungle Fury and get powers from them. Everybody they could get powers in space. And have Cassie give them their powers. Whoever they could get. To basically convince them to give them the powers, and don't make it easy. Make them have to work for it to prove themselves. Because at this point, if they're going back in time, these Rangers don't know who the heck they are. So that would have been such a good storyline. And then they'd have a reason to ride around on the airship, because Go Galleon is an amazing ship, and I love it. And what they call it, Zordon's Revenge. We started with that. But no, they just need to hire us as Power Ranger writers. We will fix this stuff. But let's see here. Move down. So we have, don't forget, Emperor Grum. He did the same thing Rita Repulsa did. He would wait until they would get done with school and basic training, and the battle and fight begins. Yeah.
Grum from SPD?
Yep. Well, he would let them train. They would get to train and sleep.
They got to train all the time.
And got to make their buttery toast. I mean, they got to do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely agree. Got to volunteer. They got to volunteer a lot. Yeah, they're very respectful villains. Like they are.
Yeah, no. I don't know what is it? Well, even Kevin Jones in the comments, gotta love those understanding villains. It's great to be an understanding villain.
I just spotlighted that one right there because you know what?
Yep.
I think there should be more understanding villains in Power Rangers because it doesn't make sense. Half of the reasons we get for the villains wanting to conquer Earth, they're not very clear. So it's just like we just want to do it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like I would love it if there was ever some kind of like additional footage filmed. Like I would love it if there's a deleted scene from a long time ago and it was the Power Rangers meeting with like Rita, later on Lord Zed, saying, "Hey, I know you want to take over the world, but we're teens, we go to school. If you could just, not operate between the hours of 9 and 5, that'd be fantastic. 6 p.m. up, but make sure, we got to be home before curfew."
Yeah, I'm like, can we not do this on Tuesday? It's taco night. Oh yeah, no bad. We'll just pencil it in for Thursday. How about that? Give you a day to rest. I mean, like it's just funny. It's funny to me. But yeah, we have Power Rangers is to me is nostalgia. I think the nostalgia is what we love the most because that was like the first live action. I'm just gonna say it. Power Rangers is like a live action cartoon. It just is. It's what it is.
I mean, even the Sentai has been described as live action anime. With the way it is and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, plus, you just could not deny back in 1993. What is it? I'm trying to find. Okay, I just lost what I'm trying to find the words. It's like, you can't deny. There we go. The impact. You cannot deny the impact that it had on pop culture. I mean, I remember after that first initial episode. I mean, because it was really funny. Because before Power Rangers, before the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we were all going to school. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all over the place. I want to be a turtle. Here's some turtle toys. All this stuff. The minute Power Rangers happened, you just saw kids like saying, "Hey, I'll trade you this turtle shirt for that Power Ranger shirt." Throwing their turtles on the ground, saying, "Man, screw that, man. Give me the Megazord. That's where it's at right now." Because even the commercials for the toys, man, I remember were just so awesome. They would just come down and just do the stuff with the toys, like forming the Megazord, and it's just explosions everywhere. It's like Power Rangers, too hot to handle. I'm like, I need it. I need it all.
So let me tell you, when Power Rangers came out in 1993, I was 18. So I was super excited because I love Super Sentai. I love Super Sentai because by then I had all been watching it since I was like, I think I watched my first show when I was like 12. So I already had that time. So when people were like, but I remember looking at it and I'm like, that's not Z Ranger. Like, that's not what happened in Z Ranger. But that's all we had. So you just kind of rolled with it. And looking back though, it's still got MMPR has a place in my heart, but you got to admit the cut scenes, the way they would awkwardly cut it to go right into the Japanese footage, it's not the best.
I've probably been attacked verbally a few times when I've said that, and I really hate to admit it, the show does not hold up that well. I mean, it is inherently 90s. The editing is very choppy. Like, even now, I go back and I watch, like, say, the episode with the eye guy. And, like, in one scene, you can see the little Asian kid hiding behind him and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I didn't catch that when I was, like, 5.
Yeah, well, then it opened the door to even cheesier shows. Like, I see VR Troopers. I actually like VR Troopers a lot. It only had one season.
Yeah, I wish that show had lasted a little longer than it did. But from what I understood, they ran out of footage to use.
Was it Ryan, Caitlin, and what was his name?
JB.
JB, thank you. I was going to say JD. I would have been close. I did like the show. I like the direction of VR Troopers. Big Bad Beetleborgs, I wasn't really that impressed with.
Big Bad Beetleborgs was legit. I loved it. I mean, it only lasted between the original and Alex.
I'm happy for you, Joe.
I dug that show because it had the comic book thing going, and I'm a big comic book guy. I actually love that idea. I mean, heck, even Bulk and Skull in Power Rangers Turbo in one episode we're reading Beetleborg comic books, which was really I love that, but of course I will say, not to get too off topic, the Once a Bond show that is just something else, which was an original production, Mystic Knights.
Mystic Knights was cool, but
I love Mystic Knights.
Masked Rider was my other one that I didn't like.
Oh my god, Masked Rider. Okay, you want to talk about a show that was completely like I'm sitting there because I remember Kamen Rider, or I seen Kamen Riders like several years later, and by the time I saw Kamen Rider, I was thinking back to Masked Rider, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what we got, But I will say, at least years later, we did get a proper Kamen Rider TV show.
Dragon Knight, I think it was.
Yeah, it lasted one season, but I will say they put like time, effort, and money into that show. The production quality on that show was top notch, and they even got some real good. Mark Dacascos was in the show. I mean, Mark Dacascos. They got Mark Dacascos. That was amazing. They got some legit martial artists to be in that show.
I think you need to do a review on that because that is a really good show. So just do a nostalgia review. I will watch it. I will thumbs up it. You guys should join, subscribe to his channel. So he's going to Mystic Knights review, and he's going to do a Kamen Rider Dragon Knight review. I just gave him an assignment because I'm not a good villain. I do that.
I will try to find time to get that done. I mean, I will say even one more thing. Even that theme song was awesome for Kamen Rider Dragon Knight.
They did a really good. The casting on that was good, and actually paralleled the Japanese version very well. So I did like that. But I would, I don't know if I would be able to handle a new rendition of Kamen Rider, but then I did hear a rumor that they may be trying to bring Kamen Rider over, but now that we have this Hasbro maybe leaving Toei, I don't know how any of that's going to work, but it would be interesting if they
It'd
did.
be fairly interesting.
I don't know how they would pull it off.
Well, I mean, you probably, if they do it, it'll probably be another company, I would assume, because like even when Kamen Rider Dragon Knight came out, that was put on what was it? It wasn't Kids WB, it was something else, but it was what Kids WB used to come on before they changed it, the title of the Saturday morning cartoon, and by that point, Power Rangers had already been over on the Disney Channel.
That's right, they had moved it because the first show I think they did was Ninja Storm, right?
Yeah, because they licensed it to a new company.
Yeah.
The Kamen Rider got licensed to a different company that wasn't Disney or Saban. So if they do it, it'll probably be with a different company.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for them to bring Kamen Rider Gaim over because I would love for somebody to do like a morph with oranges involved. It would be awesome because they're all fruit related. I think that would be hilarious because it's such a good show. It is dark, but sometimes it takes away when you got the grape mode and you like cherry, and it just cracks me up. But and it makes me want to eat fruit a lot. But let's get back to the comments because I see that we are definitely. I love how fast these go, guys, because you'll pop them and they roll right up, and then I'm scrolling and I think I'm cross-eyed and dyslexic because I don't feel like I'm seeing them all. I still don't understand, how did they graduate? Did they graduate? Well, no, they did have the episode.
Turbo characters graduated. Yeah, the Turbo characters at the beginning of the first of Turbo, like Tommy and them, Tommy Cat, Adam and them, they did graduate. Yeah. Billy just got handed his diploma straight out. He's got called in the principal's office. Is like,
he went with what's her name from Alien Rangers.
Yeah, he eventually went off with them, but
whatever. He's like, I'm out.
Yeah, but other than that, when it came to say the Space Rangers, for example, they were in high school and they never. Well, actually, I could argue, anyone could probably argue the fact that they technically flunked out of high school.
Yeah.
Because they were living in space and not.
I will call anyone's BS if Power Rangers in space. Cassie and crew did not graduate. I don't care what anyone said. They never went to class. They went to class. They went to Ernie's juice bar. Then they never went back to school again. And then they just kept flying around space. Even in their crossover with Lost Galaxy, they were not in school. They should have failed. So
and I'm pretty sure that's maybe one of the reasons why it doesn't come up. Is most likely the fact remains they flunked out of high school and they did not get the diplomas because for them, they're probably just like, we're on a ship, we're Power Rangers, we have all the food, resources. Even so, even when they were printing food, I always had to wonder, could the ship print money too? Because they were always going shopping, going out to eat. Where were they getting their money? They are printing it. They don't need a diploma. They don't need a job. Life is good. You're a space ranger.
Well, yeah, and then what also kills me though, because we're saying all this, but let's be real. Tommy became a paleontologist, so he's a doctor now. He has a PhD in Dino Thunder anyway, and apparently and I'm like, when was he good in school? I don't understand. He was a race car driver his senior year. He wanted to be a race car driver, and he was always trying to race, go off and race, and he was kind of shirking his Power Ranger, responsibilities near the end. So when they were giving their powers up, he was like, yeah, and now he went to school and became a paleontologist, and I'm like, what? So quite frankly, Cassie could be an astrophysicist now. Who knows?
It's quite possible. I'm an
astrophysicist. I've never taken a chemistry class or any type of science class because I've been a Power Ranger, but those are my credentials. So there you go. So that's literally what we're dealing with, people. Let's see here. Let's not forget Luther, because he waited for the Ninja Force squad to learn as kids and continue to do that and only attack on their job, career breakup, or off days. True. Luther did do that. So what we're saying is that there is a union and some kind of support group or community club for all of the Power Ranger villains where they all get together and they all have decided mandated rules that they cannot attack during school hours.
Well, we saw that at the beginning of Power Rangers in Space, the Galactic Alliance of Evil. that meeting wasn't just about getting Zordon. It was also like, hey, if you're new to the Power Rangers universe, hey, we got some rules that y'all got to follow. Just saying.
No, like this is horrible. But, let's see here. Go back to the other one because I just passed one. I'm sorry. Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs. Yes, Kevin. He loves a Big Bad Beetleborgs. I guess I just wasn't. It wasn't that I didn't like the show. It just wasn't like my thing. Probably because they were like what 9 or 10. And I'm like, I just don't care.
I mean, as a kid myself, I mean, I was a kid at the time too. You know, for me, that was like a big wish fulfillment fantasy. I mean, what kid wouldn't love to find like a magic genie or ghost or whatever? And it's like, turn me into my favorite superhero for my favorite comic book.
Well, and I'm being hypocritical because, like, quite frankly, simultaneously, I was watching Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, and I totally wanted to pilot Ramrod. So, you know,
yeah,
and then have Optimus Prime's voice still come out of it.
Yeah. Plus, name me one other kid show at the time where you had a mix of Tokusatsu footage with ghosts and vampires and werewolves and like other monsters and stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it was a crazy show. It was insane.
I could see that. Time Force awakens my shipping spirit before I knew what it even was. Yeah. The whole thing with Jen, Alex, and Wes is well, technically Time Ranger wasn't like that. She I think she knew someone that looked like, what's his name? Tatsuya Red Ranger? It's been a minute.
Tatsuya?
Yeah, she knew someone that looked like him, but they weren't, I don't think they were romantically linked. If I remember, her thing was more her parents were killed, and she was like not dealing with that. So everybody had like their thing. I do think it's interesting that the Yellow Time Ranger Time Ranger, not Time Force, basically got his girlfriend pregnant. So when we get to Go Kaiser, you see him as 10 years old, and I'm like, did he just like literally do a Futurama and basically grandfather himself or something, or like have his son, maybe he make his son start his family line? That was just really weird to me, because when they went back in time, remember, they didn't have a familial connection to anybody there, but now you have a son, and now you're 300 years in the future. That's a little odd. I'm like, that's just really, really odd to me. So Sentai gets it wrong sometimes too. I'm just saying.
Well, he pulled what we call the Kyle Reese. You know, you go back in time and knock up a chick, and then, all right, cool, I'm out. Or Kyle Reese's case, you know, he got killed by a Terminator, but still, you know, it's like future, past, pregnancy. It's all good. What harm could it have on the timeline?
Not at all, because we thought that through diligently. Let's see here. I love MPR, but yes, it is so 80s. No kids were like, give me the morphers, the video games, and the shirts, or we are going full Game of Thrones battle royale. Don't forget the live action shows. I remember they used to travel around and do live action Power Ranger shows too. I thought that was really interesting.
Yep.
Kevin Jones loves the Beetle motif and said, OMG, Mystic Knights. So yep, he loves Mystic Knights. And Masked Rider was yikes. Yeah, yikes is a very kind word. I have better, but I'm going to keep this PG-13 or G-rated.
I'll accept yikes for now.
Yeah, yikes for now. Well, placement word later. Don't forget a VR Troopers review. There you go, Joe. Get on that. See how I'm giving him work. I have a lot of videos to do. What about Kamen Rider Force? Is that the one that says Space Joe? I freaking love that one. Space Joe. They say it all the time. I love space. Yeah, me and my daughter, when that came on, we would do that to each other just for the heck of it. Like, I go pick her up from school, I'm like, Space Joe. Because I am one of those mothers that embarrasses their children. Love that show. I would love for them to bring that over, especially doing this. I call it the Scooby-Doo Club. You know, the Kamen Rider Force Oz Club, where they all had like their little team room. I think that's cool, and they had their own robot they would fight in. That was a very involved, interactive like show. And what was his name? Kamen Rider Meteor? Wasn't that the sidekick Meteor? Had a cool theme. I have to think about this. The one that would do the Bruce Lee, you know. I love that show. It was Ninja Storm. So yeah, that was the first Disney one, right, Nick? Okay.
Yeah.
Just add it. All right. From race cars to dinosaurs. Sure, that makes sense.
You know, I mean, maybe he just didn't care for the race car thing. You know, I always thought in Dino Thunder, I always thought it was a little weird they never addressed it. I'm like, you could have done it for like, you know, it could have been a quick throwaway line that, you know, maybe life as a race car driver just didn't do that well. Maybe, you know, would have been interesting to think that maybe he was just a terrible race car driver.
Well, no, he was supposed to be the prodigy. Remember, they wanted him to quit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like he was supposed to be the prodigy, but I think it would have been funnier if, you know, I actually think it would have been funny if he's like, yeah, I tried to be a race car driver once, but it turns out I was really bad at it.
Well, then you also have to remember he was heavily in the martial arts and training and doing tournaments, then race car driving, then paleontology. And like, I don't understand the link unless you just really missed the MMPR days, and that's like a midlife crisis. Maybe that's what it was.
Well, not just paleontology, but also wouldn't robotics fit somewhere in there too? Because he did say that he created the minions that Mesogog used. Remember, he
created the DNA from the dino part. What's her name from MIT that helped him? The lady.
I remember him saying, like, I remember the Ranger saying, "What are those things?" And he's saying, I remember him saying that he helped create them.
Yeah, with the girl that was the computer expert who we thought he was his wife, but now we know it's Kat. Which I have so many questions about the timeline in that. Where the heck is Kat then? You know what I mean? She's just letting him hang out. He's letting Tommy hang out with his random girl.
They weren't married at that time. That's all it was.
So then what were they doing? Where was she? Like the whole time Dino Thunder was going on. Where was they?
Tommy was her second husband. I don't know.
Like I said, guys, just like you ever notice how nobody calls Tommy Doctor outside of Dino Thunder at all? They're like, it's Tommy. And like, not Dr. Oliver, Tommy. Like, if I went got a PhD, you're going to call me doctor. I don't care if we've been friends for 40 years. It's Dr. Maria. But yeah, it's just, I love breaking down this stuff because you really think about it. We watch the show for the action. We don't really watch it for the plot. Let's be real. But when you really start to think about it, it really is funny. Some of the things that you kind of like realize that do not make sense. I guess being race car driver wasn't all that it's cracked up to be. He must have used coal, or should I say fossil fuels? With part-time jobs? You mean Elsa? Yeah. Was her name Elsa? I thought her name was something else.
Actually, I think that's right.
It might be Elsa.
Or Elza.
Or,
might have been Elza with a Z.
I just remember her having like reddish brown hair and like hazelish type eyes, I believe. I may be crazy though. It's been a minute since I watched that reddish show. Brown hair. Wait, she had black hair? No. Now isn't Elsa is the villain? There was a woman that was actually aiding them, that was working the computer, and they met in school, and she was from like the same college that Tommy was from.
She went to college with Tommy.
I don't know her name. I can't remember her name.
Haley.
So Haley. Thank you. Haley. Look at you on it. Right. You got it. I'm so proud. I don't know. I think it was Haley. I don't think it was Hillary.
It was Haley.
It was Haley. I know how the villains in PR were so understanding of their jobs and socialized. I love how they are. I'm telling you, if one of them got engaged, they'd let them do engagement photos. These villains were like not trying. They were not. Just like, let's be real. Let's just break it down. If the villains really wanted the Power Rangers dead, they would already be dead. Perfect example. They're out and about. Putties come. They knock Tommy down. They get some scissors and they cut a lock of his hair to create a doppelganger to take out Tommy. Why didn't they just take the scissors and plunge it into his freaking throat? Like, they weren't trying to kill him.
Because TVY7.
They weren't trying. They could have like he could have killed him, and like the camera just like went away and you heard, and then he's just dead and never even seen him. It's gonna be like, Tommy was destroyed. Because you couldn't be killed. You were destroyed. They were not trying. None of them were trying to kill the Power Rangers. So they were completely safe at all times. Like even when they did, they're completely safe.
Oh no, I'm actually halfway convinced that the Galactic Alliance of Evil were just bored.
Yeah. They're like, how can we just go to Earth and just torture some kids? We'll let them wear spandex, pretend they have powers, like, and then just shoot at the ground in front of them. Like,
yeah, that'd be an interesting. Hey, can you go to Earth and like pretend to be this guy like Zordon and stuff? Just give him these powers and like we'll attack him like once a week and we'll let him get we'll give him new powers every few episodes and stuff like that, you know. And then at the end we'll pretend to blow up and just let them go on with their lives.
Yeah, we're just going to put your projector image onto a tube, just like the city of Kandor. Like, you're not really there, but they don't need to know that.
Yeah. No, there was actually this one rumor that I heard a long time ago, back when Megaforce first started, that one of the original story beats was that Gosei was supposed to be like the final villain of the show, and it was going to be like a man behind the curtain kind of thing.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Especially if he would have just destroyed them all because they just needed to go. So that's how I feel about Gosei and Megaforce. I can't. I just can't. There is no check I will sign for Megaforce. Just saying. Let's see. Also, how much money did it cost to build and repair their Zords? Nothing, Kevin. Let me tell you why. And this is true about Sentai. How many times has Tokyo Tower been destroyed per episode in every Sentai, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, and every other, heck, even in anime, and they have it up in 24 hours. So if Japan has that logic, then obviously the people that helped make these Zords do too here in the States.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the buildings and stuff, there's actually a good explanation for that. In these worlds of Sentai and Godzilla and stuff like that, they have monster insurance, Zord insurance. That's how that happens.
And so I know we were talking about Hasbro, but since we don't have a lot to speculate, this is a very interesting topic. So I'm glad you brought that up. So whenever we see the Zord fights and they're trying to save people's lives, and then you see them get knocked through buildings and they knock the monsters through buildings. Are people not in these buildings? Because I've never really seen them have time to evacuate the city. So I'm just confused on the amount of damage and casualties they're airbrushing in the Sentai and Power Ranger worlds.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely kill people. People die. There's no way around that. And they did not evacuate all those buildings. Yeah, probably billions of dollars worth of damage every single month. I mean, it's to that point. Even so, I remember when I was a kid watching Power Rangers. We were on the 3rd season, and I had to thought to myself, like, why doesn't everybody just freaking move?
They're only attacking Angel Grove. Why just go?
It's like, exactly. They're just attacking Angel Grove. Now, I am watching Power Rangers in space, and I do find it kind of interesting. There's actually when they established KO-35 as an abandoned place, and a lot of fights are taking place on KO-35. And so I'm like, that was some smart thinking.
But they don't ever have like a system to like pull the monsters up into like space or air or something and fight them away from the city. Like, let's take them to this abandoned location. No, we're going to drop down right in the middle of downtown, take out the entire business district. We don't need them. And then, we're going to win and we have saved everyone's lives. No, you've literally killed like tens to thousands of people every time you've done this. So I don't know how there are citizens left.
Well, I mean, what's more interesting, building destruction, possibly, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands dead every episode, or the monsters, they're attacking the rock quarry. The rocks, go save the rocks.
Go save the freaking rocks. What's wrong with you? Stop attacking people downtown. I want to live.
Especially in the Disney era, that was a big thing about, the monsters. They're attacking the quarry. They're in the rock quarry. We got to get them. It's like, what the fuck's out there?
I'm telling you, like, just imagine you're that poor guy that like had to work, on Saturday, because it had to be a Saturday. It wasn't a school night. And so you're like, you're like, man, I don't want to be here. And the next thing you know, the whole building is gone. And you're like, well, there's my life. But the Power Rangers rock. So yeah, that's a problem, guys. I don't support destruction of or mass destruction of buildings, especially with people in it. So questions about in the Power Ranger universe.
And I do want to note, Kevin Jones' comment, insurance companies must be making a killing in the Power Rangers Sentai universe. And I will say, as much as I love Power Rangers Sentai, I would never want to live in those worlds. Can you imagine what insurance premiums must cost for the average working American, or in their case, Japanese citizen and stuff like that? Because, like, good God. I mean, just the cost of rebuilding all of those structures weekly, like, taxes must be through the roof.
Like, I don't even know how they're sustaining their cities. They should have like massive job loss.
Just from an economic standpoint, I don't know how these cities are still cities and not like, halfway abandoned by now.
Well, let me go back up really quickly. I'll get back to your comment, Nicholas. You had another one earlier that I thought was funny. Look at Mystic Force. They had full functioning jobs at a record music shop, and the villains only showed up in the afternoon, specifically on their days off, even when they were volunteering. You're not wrong.
Hey,
like, you're not wrong.
Monsters, they need records too, man. Like, they listen to music. And I mean, just a giant bulky monster walk in the store. Got the new Pantera album or what?
Yeah, that probably happened in an episode. I just forgot it. So there must be a villain union about this system. I mean, at least in VR Troopers, they transported to a rock quarry for safety. This is true. That did happen. Because they actually that's why they only lasted one season, because they were very considerate. Like, they gotta go. Like, I support amazing villains. We do too. We just don't know why they're amazing villains, because there's really no reasoning they give for why they're doing this, unless they take naps during the day. I don't know. Oh dear God, I can't live in that world. Which one? I mean, I like to play that game. If you could be in any Power Ranger series, which one would you be and who would you be? Not Sentai. It has to be Power Rangers.
Yep. Oh man. Ooh, living in any world. God, Lightspeed Rescue all the way, man. It's like, I want to be in that underwater base. That's legit. That was cool.
I like Go-Go 5. I always thought that was a problematic show, though, because their father literally lived like 5 miles from them for the past 10 years and never told them he was alive.
Yeah. Honestly, I liked Go-Go 5, but I actually, in the end, I did prefer Lightspeed Rescue. It's like Titanium Ranger. You cannot beat the Titanium Ranger. I'm just saying.
I will say that was actually, I mean, I am a Go-Go 5 fan, but I will say that Lightspeed for me was one of the counterparts I really did enjoy watching. And I actually loved
rare. Yeah, no, it's rare that we ever make a Power Rangers show that I would consider to be better than Sentai, but that's one of the cases where I think we actually nailed it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I don't know who I would be, because there's so many Power Rangers. I don't know.
There's a ton of Power Rangers.
I would be Power Rangers in space, because I like space pirates, and that's the closest I'm going to get, because I am sure as heck not going to be a super Megaforce. So I'll be Power Rangers in space and learn how to fly my spaceship. And I didn't have to go to school. I didn't have to do anything. I would never get in trouble. It'd be awesome. I have to have no like familial or responsibilities of any kind other than cleaning the ship. So yeah, Power Rangers in space. That's what I would be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I was in Power Rangers in space, they'd kick me off the shuttle. Like, because every time I heard a countdown, I would just be like, every time I heard like 5, 4, 3, 2, I'd be like, Rangers in space.
Well, 1, 2, 3. No, what was it? Was it 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1 Mega? Like, I can't remember if it was forward or backwards in Mega Ranger when they were like 1, 2, 3 Mega.
Mega.
I can't remember. But I love the henshins. I love the Japanese henshins. I love when they talk. I love when they talk in English. Like there's so many. Like they try so hard. They try so hard.
Yeah. I will say though, with the first time I saw Mega Ranger, I was just like, suddenly it all makes sense. Why the Megazord in space had a giant M? Why it said Mega every time Zane morphed?
Yeah.
Why he had a compute? Why the Andros had a computer on his head? And all the other Rangers had like different, like these different things. I'm like,
yeah,
like,
the different
it all
abilities, like.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, for the most part, they did very well at trying to adapt them. I know that MMPR was a mix of like a few Sentai. We had Zoo Ranger, you know, we had Kaku Ranger, or
Die
Die Ranger.
Ranger.
We had,
Yep.
yeah, they're like Kaku Ranger with the Alien Ranger. So like we had so many different like merges. So they, I mean, I guess because they ran out of story because they kept going with the same team, and then finally they were like, we can't really do this anymore. We have to do something else. So
Yeah, I also think costs were starting to get a little too expensive because they were only using, at that point they were only using Sentai footage for the Zord fights. I mean, that was it. And so yeah, I mean, it made sense from, you know, from a financial standpoint. Well, we need to go back to the meat and potatoes of what made Power Rangers. So it's like, let's just let's adapt another series because there's like 500 of them out there, and we'll just change out every season from there, and just continue on this trend, you know, which ended up turning out to be a really great idea. You know, I love when they finally got on board with changing it out every season. But yeah, I mean, even now though, now I look back on Alien Rangers and I'm just like, well, that's a little problematic, isn't it? Because, you know, Andros is an alien. We've had other alien. Why aren't they Alien Rangers? It's too broad now. It's like Alien's too broad now in the Power Rangers universe. Like, I would love it if they went back and just renamed them something else.
what would you name them?
What would I name them? Let's see. I mean, you could just call them like Aqua Rangers or something. I don't know.
Well, the new series, isn't it Kira Ranger? But you like to call them Jolly Rancher Ranger. I would love to see how Jolly Rancher Rangers would do over here. They're
the Jolly Rangers for me. Just because like the first time I saw the show and like they started showing all the gems, I was like, it's a freaking Jolly Rancher. You cannot do otherwise. I took one look at it, I saw it sparkling, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the store and get some Jolly Ranchers.
Well, see, and they probably did that intentionally. They wanted to make a series instead of having to make toys. They can make snacks, so they can just like pass it out the candy. You know,
I'll accept it. I will accept that, absolutely. You know, like Kira Ranger just makes me want Jolly Ranchers every time I see it, and I'm just like, all right, let's do it.
That's another one. I just started getting into that one. This is the latest one, and like,
I'm
on episode 4, and I'm still like, I know
they're not far into it either. They're only like, I think last time I checked.
Well, the Red Ranger got COVID. The actor, he was actually hospitalized for COVID, so they had to stop shooting. So,
perfect. Well, I mean, that's not perfect, but I'm like, if you want to catch up in the show, now's a good time to do it.
Yeah, but less imagination. Hey, imagination show. We're talking. We're going to talk about Toku Ranger.
Go for it.
It's so underrated. I don't understand.
I don't know what everybody was talking about when they said the show was bad. Me and my wife watched it from start to finish, and we unapologetically love Tokuger. First off, I love the train. Yeah, okay, the Megazord wasn't the greatest looking thing in the world, but the suits were interesting. I love the fact that they could change colors, and there was like this big rainbow thing. Like the villains were honestly really cool looking. You know, we got that whole steampunk thing going on. Yeah, no, the show was great, and I thought it was, you know, the whole imagination concept too lended itself excellently to the idea. I mean, because what is Power? You know, Power Rangers is imagination in itself. You know, and the fact that they ended up being kids who were, you know, essentially asleep. They were dreaming. And I loved that whole concept. I was just like, you know, it's like what it would be like to dream to be a Power Ranger, or in this case, you know, a Sentai member of some kind. You know, it's so cool. I liked it, and it forever also gave me the imagery of the Zord shooting a train from in between its legs. That was so great. He popped the blue pill. What can I say?
So yes, I like Tokuger. like a lot. I love Sentai music soundtracks. I think that the soundtracks on most of the shows are infinitely better than the ones we have in the States.
Yes,
I love
yeah.
Sentai music.
When it came to the soundtracks, like, I mean, pretty much there is one guy, Ron Wasserman. This guy made Power Rangers in terms of soundtracks and stuff like that. And when he stopped making music for the show, yeah, I think ever since his departure, there's only been like a small handful of songs where I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Dino Charge probably being my favorite one within the last, 5 years or so, 7 years, as far as theme songs go. But you also got to look at, of course, at the stark difference between, Sentai and America. I mean, at least in Sentai, they get like legit bands like Sidekick Lover and stuff to make music for, for their openings and stuff like that. And it's excellently done. Like me, I mean, I can listen to Geki Ranger, Go Onger. I mean, what is it? Ghost Sager, probably in my top 5 Sentai theme songs. I just love that song. And like so many other ones. Like, I mean, I could listen to these tracks all day, every day. In some cases I have, just because, they're just really well done music.
And it's like, and it actually matches the theme of the show, which I think is really good. Now, I like Ninja Storm's theme, and I love that they actually incorporated a little bit of Asian flair into the music. So I thought that was really creative for Ninja Storm.
Yeah, when it came to the Disney era, the only thing I hated, and Saban did this too, or the Neo Saban era did this too, and I hated it, was the little thing before the credits started, which was where they had to recap like the plot of the show. Every single time I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah, Secret Ninja Academies, train protectors, blah 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 blah. Let's see the song. Let's go. Come on now.
I didn't mind that too much. I had a problem when we went back to Neo Saban and like with Power Ranger Samurai. I'm like, here we go with that Flip and Go Power Ranger song again. I am so tired. I am so tired. I'm tired of hearing this song.
I mean, when it came to that, yes, I would have loved it immensely if they had just done their own thing instead of relying back on Power Rangers. But I get the idea and I get the concept of it. They wanted to try to recapture, that energy that made the original so good. And it's just like, and Power Rangers had been off the air for a couple of years at that point, because we had RPM and then we had sort of a first season redux, and then after that, that was it until like 2012 when we got Samurai. So they were probably trying to get people back into it. And then of course with Megaforce, again, I could kind of let it slide just because it was meant to be the anniversary. And I will say the guitar riff and stuff for Megaforce was actually pretty cool. Like I didn't hate the theme songs. They were, of course, it was the original song all over again. But at least they tried to hit some different notes in there just to make it a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't. It got too repetitive for me. I really did. I mean, I always feel like if you can have a series that not only does a really good theme song, but also incorporates different tracks of your background music, which is something they don't do a lot in Power Rangers. They either replay the theme.
Oh God, no! It's stock music,
phonic music that's just horrible. Like when they have fight scenes, what I love about Sentai is because they incorporate it. Like, I'll give you a case in point. Gokaiger. If Gokaiger didn't have the cool music, piratey music on their final wave, you'd be like, all right, it's cool, but it loses something. But having the cool attack, having the cool black background, like they're floating in space, getting ready to supercharge weapons, and that theme or the background music for that theme, that's just badass. So we don't have that in Power Rangers. And I think that's something that they should really think about because music can make or break any project.
Oh, yeah. So, and and also and I always bring it up too, like in the Neo Saban era, in the one episode of Power Rangers Megaforce, I think it's where they finally beat Rock. I think technically it'd be Super Megaforce. Then the story of Rock's back, or I think that's what it was.
I'm proud of you for knowing that because I blocked it all out.
Yeah. So in that one, it's actually interesting because it's Megaforce or Super Megaforce, one of the two, and they're in the Megazords. They're actually like they get to the thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna beat the bad guy, and the theme starts blaring up, and again we're in Megaforce and or Super Megaforce, and it's the samurai theme because they go samurai forever, as Brock's going down, and I'm like. I started laughing because I'm like, you guys didn't care. There was no how did that get past the editor, who edited the actually no, who edited the show? Who put that track in there? Did you like
He got confused. He's like, what is this music bed? It looks long enough. Just stick it right there.
Yeah. And see, that's what happens when you have two seasons that have almost identical theme songs. He probably just heard the first 30 seconds or like 3 seconds of it. It's like, oh, there it is. Put it in there. Didn't bother to listen to the rest of it. Just kind of, just slid it in there. But speaking of theme songs, okay, I love Beast Morphers. Absolutely.
Yeah, Beast Morphers. Like I said, whole Hasbro, like Power Rangers, is a whole different ballgame from what.
Yeah, dude, they are doing great with it. But I do gotta ask, what is it with showing the theme song almost at the 10-minute mark?
Because they want you to wait for it, Joe. Because you are just too impatient for theme songs.
It's a good. I mean, that's a good.
You couldn't even wait 10 seconds
of the episode gone before you get to the theme song. It makes no sense.
No, it's all for you. They're doing this because of you. Because you couldn't wait 10 seconds for the Ninja Storm intro to stop to go to the music. They made you wait 10 minutes.
This is my Beast Morphers. I mean, 10 minutes of the Beast Morpher song is my punishment. I got it.
They're like, I don't care what happens, but Joe, this is for you. Like, you don't think we know? We know. Every time you plug that DVR and you fast forwarded to the theme song, we knew.
Got it on loop on YouTube. We know it.
Well, I've watched series where we're like I watch a lot of random stuff. Like I watch SWAT, for instance. I think it might be an NBC. I don't know, guys. It could be CBS. It probably is CBS. But they'll play like this huge like chunk of the show, and then it's like da-da-da, da-da-da. I'm like, oh, we haven't done that yet.
No, exactly. It's kind of jarring. It's jarring when you watch almost half the episode, and then they play the theme song, and you're just like, oh, okay.
But I do respect it in a way because I'm so used to TV shows, and in Power Rangers they would do this when they would air it, especially Nickelodeon. They probably have like, so like they'll have like so last season. So with the first season of Beast Morphers, they'll play like maybe the theme song first, right? And then we get nothing but like 12 commercials until the show actually starts, and it's like. So in this way, I guess you're getting a little bit more show right when the show is supposed to start, and then it goes right into it. Maybe it would be different if it's on Netflix. It wouldn't be like that. I think that's an editor choice to give you more time to see the series. So that's what I think is happening. At least that's what I would have done, and that would have been my excuse if you would have asked me, and I worked for them.
I'm just gonna download all of them, and I'm just gonna recut it myself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the theme song at the beginning where it goes, because the theme song is what gets you hyped. When you have a good theme song, that's what gets you hyped. I mean, Power Rangers in Space, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force. And
the same thing with battle music, like Ronin Warriors. If Ronin Warriors didn't have that music, it would just be a bunch of pretty samurai light shows. That's basically what that would be. It would be cool, but it would not be any level of cool that it is without that soundtrack and that background music.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Am I the only one that thought the opening theme to PR Mystic Force sounded like Black Eyed Peas song?
I mean, personally, I feel like Black Eyed Peas would have made a better song.
Yeah.
Because what gets me is Ron Wasserman actually made a song for that series, and they didn't use it, and I'm just like, why? That was such a good song.
Yeah, I agree with you. It definitely was on somebody's R&B chart, and there's nothing wrong with R&B music. It's just really weird associated with Power Rangers. But I think they were trying to do their own thing. So, I mean, the background music for that, like the magical element of it, when they made it with higher stringed instruments and stuff, that
Oh
actually
yeah, they
sounded
had
more
like
like
the flute or something in there. It's
yeah,
like
it was more Maji
piccolos.
Ranger. But yeah, that theme song no. But I saw SPD, and SPD had a pretty good soundtrack. Like I like their morphing music. I
Also,
like
Ron Wasserman.
Yep. So that one was pretty good. Was that they would have, but it sounded similar. Yeah, I mean, it's just true. The music makes the show, and it's just what it is. I mean, even with the Flash, I mean, the Flash music. I love the theme of the Flash. I don't like what he says because he's never been the fastest. Man, I am I am one of very many Flashes, our fastest men
I am
alive
maybe, yeah,
in this earth and on others.
yeah, no. What he should have said is like, maybe I'm maybe the fourth fastest person alive.
Potentially 5.
Potentially,
Alive
yeah.
in my own earth, not in the multiverse. Like that has not been killed in this episode.
If you get the multiverse involved, it's like, I'm sorry, Barry, you're the slowest one of us all.
Yeah, well, me and my friend Blur, we do this all the time. So we say things like, "My name is Oliver Queen. I was stranded on the island for 5 days. Then I got trained, kidnapped, beaten, taken off the island on a world tour, brought back to the island, where I finally found my way home." Like, it's not really how that happened in the comics, but okay. Like, yeah, they didn't know what they were thinking when they wrote the openings to their songs. But let's see here. I know I skipped something up and I was trying to find it. Oh, Trip was an alien. Same with Doggy Kruger. That is true. Well, SPD though, actually, we all knew that they had aliens. So that was the whole space cop alien thing. They kept that from Deca Ranger. Is this one? It keeps moving. Sorry. Okay, plus rescue workers as superheroes. Oh, Go-Go 5. Yeah. So Go-Go 5 had the same theme. They were rescue rangers. Two of them were in the fire department. We had the pilot, we had a cop, and then a paramedic. So they were all. The interesting thing about Go-Go 5 is they technically didn't have a sixth ranger. They were all siblings. They did not have. They had a robotic counterpart. They had a girl who took on another, person's powers temporarily. Kyoko, I think her name was, but they didn't have a sixth ranger. They never had one.
I think it goes without saying that's the whole title, Go 5, because the Japanese word for 5 is go. So I guess technically it's 555 could be the title of the show, and it would have been really. It probably would have been weird if they had to rename the show Roku 6.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, but I mean, technically, I guess I could have morphed it. I mean, into anything, but it's just really weird that even with Ninja, which is a very silly show, Ninja is very, very silly. And they're all cousins, and then they get Star Ninja with the cowboy hat. He's not a singer like in Ninja. Still, he wants to be. Eventually, I think he does become a chef. But he wants to be the last ninja. He just randomly shows up. He is a cowboy, a Japanese cowboy. It can happen because Ginga men were basically Japanese Native Americans. So look, we didn't say Japanese plots were better. We just said they implemented them better. But
well, because they're able to, because they write the shows themselves, they're able to, they're able to actually drive the show through characterization.
Yes, they are. And
they're not, they don't have to succumb to other footage.
Yeah. I agree with that. And that's back to the whole Hasbro conversation. Like if they were to make their own Power Rangers, because it's not going to be IP technically. If you create something new, the concept, I don't know. I mean, the concept's the same though. Having a Power Ranger team would be, and then could you call it Power Rangers? Is that part of the IP? Like you made the deal and they coined it Power Rangers on Toei's end, and so we wouldn't be able to call it Power Rangers anymore.
Well, I mean, I think Hasbro Hasbro bought Power Rangers. They bought the trademark and stuff like that. So I think Power Rangers can still be Power Rangers. You can still call them Power Rangers. You just got to, you just got to make your own original concepts. I mean, like you said, in other countries, they do that. I think it was it Thailand that had Sport Ranger for a few years?
Sport Ranger.
Yeah, you had stuff like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And like I also said, like within the Boom Studios universe, we've already seen original Power Rangers come out. Like there was an entire story arc called Beyond the Grid where they introduced the Solar Ranger. This is really, it was a really fascinating concept altogether, even though we've technically had a Solar Ranger in the Magi Ranger adaptation, but for Mystic Force.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Well, yeah, he was from Mystic Force. I was gonna say that wasn't Magi Ranger, that was in Mystic Force, because Magi Shine was his name, and
that's why I said adaptation.
Adaptation.
But even so, the Solar Ranger in the Beyond Grid storyline was super interesting. It's like. And we've already seen it with the Titanium Ranger and stuff like that. Original concepts can work. And I think that if Hasbro really leaned into some talent, you could come up with some concepts and some Power Ranger themes that potentially could be on par with Sentai themselves, and also not being restricted with Sentai footage. So I something very interesting could be happening if this happens. But like I said, I don't think we're going to hear anything official from Hasbro or Toei or even any kind of address to it until close to the end of the second season of Dino Fury.
Yeah. And again, I don't think that name is appropriate. It really should have been Dino Knights.
Dino Knights stared right in the face. Right in the face. I'm pretty sure they had a board meeting about that too. Like, what are the people? What are the Power Rangers fans on the internet saying? Well, sir, apparently they want the show to be called Dino Knight. Dino Knight. That sounds great. Dino Fury is.
Well, the only thing I can think of is maybe we're not going to have a night concept.
It's quite possible they don't do the night thing, but then again, I really hate when the themes of the suits are obvious and they're not addressed properly. Again, Super Megaforce is that one. It's like you obviously have a really hardcore space pirate theme going on here with the suits and the Zords and stuff like that, but we're not gonna talk about it. It's like.
Exactly. I wonder what the American-made mecha fights would look like. They'd still destroy every building and everyone would die. It's basically.
That's a formula that you cannot change. You have to destroy so much property, so many buildings, and you have to kill people. You have to kill so many people.
All of them need that. All the people you're fighting for must all perish by your hand. Whatever happened to the kid Blue Ranger that got left behind when his team went to space? Justin, he went and lived with his daddy. His daddy wanted to take a job and he wanted to spend time with his father, and he gave his powers up.
He did get him back.
Yeah.
I mean, and as far as we know, Storm Blaster stayed with him.
Yeah.
So
he had a sweet ride before he even got a driver's license. Just saying.
Exactly.
Also, Korea did their Sentai Power Rangers Dino Force Brave, which is, that one actually is a sequel to the Japanese counterpart. So it's literally, they inherited the powers from the original team in Japan. I thought that was cool. It was basically a cross production between Korea and Japan. But there's also a show that a lot of people don't know about, and it's called Erexion, Erexion, which is an original Power Rangers Korean show. So, yeah.
Erection.
Well, I'm saying it like erection. My spouse is Korean. I am learning Korean, but there's no way I can pronounce that word because it actually is spelled Erexion. Erection. In the way we would pronounce words would be erection. I'm just saying. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's what the name of the show. You can Google it.
Words are great in other languages.
Yep, it is Very cool show though. It basically has a lot of time travel. They have people that are basically made into their version of Rangers from different time periods. It's very good. It's a very, very good show. Let's see, did their own original Sentai. Are you saying we did our own? So we should do our own, or they did their own original Sentai? Because I know if you're talking about Dino Force Brave, technically it is original. It is, except for they actually kept the opening and ending dances, and they almost look the same as Japan, but with the Korean cast doing it. It's just very.
Well, I can understand that though, because I can understand that though, because the songs in that season were excellent.
Yeah.
I just love that ending theme.
Pretty good. Like well, everybody loved Real Soldier. I believe it was Real Soldier's ending song. I love that. There's so many. There are so many that they just got, and then sometimes will just dance, and then some won't. And then Ninja, I preferred that the Blue Ranger didn't dance because he had absolutely no rhythm. And so every time I would watch that, I was so distracted by it. I'm like, what is happening with you? But then you watch something like Maju Ranger and their dance, and the Yellow Ranger's like into it. So, it's all in perspectives, I guess. We're going to take a few more questions, guys, because we are almost at 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it is almost dinner time. I am 3 hours ahead of the Jodester here. So for me, it's almost 7 o'clock. And I need to eat dinner, which means I need to make.
Got to go pick up his wife.
Yeah, that's a make or break it right there. So overall opinions, guys. Do you care about Hasbro leaving Toei? Do you think it's a bad idea? What do you think? But wait, if the villains have the system in place, do you think the civilians come to a truce understanding to prevent major property damage by giant monsters and Zords? I'm going to be real, Nicholas. I think the truce or understanding pretty much goes out the window in terms of potential death.
They're not allowed. The villains aren't allowed to attack within certain hours, but collateral damage is acceptable.
Yeah. Now, if you're saying, do the civilians also have a role in that? Like they get a say in it? No, not at all.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. No, it happens too fast. They summon those Zords like that, It's just like Time Ranger. Even though when Time Ranger did it and they would summon the Zords, I always got confused why Dracula was, they go through time. You see Moses, you see like dinosaurs, and you see Dracula. And I'm like, what is that? So from the future through the past makes absolutely no sense, because it seems like the year they were in was closer to the future than where they were coming from, the prehistoric times. I don't know. That was definitely a weird situation. Let's see. Nicholas says, I think half and half. So you're not really sure, kind of on the fence here. I get it. And that is a big if. We will see. I mean, it might be good. I mean, it might be. Hasbro did a really good job with Bumblebee, and I was done with Michael Bay. So amen. And Power Rangers are doing really well. I mean, I'm actually liking what's happening. I can't talk about it because Joe here sees it on Netflix and it hasn't dropped yet. They're still in the middle of the season.
Ooh.
So almost.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Well, it's probably like how much of the show's over? Because we usually what it's been happening is we get the first 10 episodes, then the season finishes, and then we get the next 10 episodes.
I want to say, let me make sure, because I have been behind. So it's either ended or we're a few episodes from it ending.
Of all 20 episodes?
Yeah, because I haven't seen the last 3, and I don't know where I'm at. So
didn't they take their like 6-month hiatus?
Yeah, they did actually in between, and then they came back, and then I can't tell you because there's actually there's a lot of cool things that happen in season 2.
Yeah. Well, yes, please, no spoilers.
I can't do Netflix.
I'm going to binge the crap out of it.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, that wasn't in the treaty. Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, guys. So it is now 1:42. You guys are awesome for hanging out with us. Love you, love you, love you. You're very responsive. We love that because we can talk, and we love that you talk back. Please leave a comment though if you think of anything else, or if you have an opinion on Hasbro, if you think it's a bunch of crap and this is all rumor mill. If you know something and you have like documented proof, please let me know, because right now I have no idea. If this is even just, it might just be an internet, joke pretty much. This may all be just because people are bored at home and, Hasbro isn't doing anything. So, you can attack the Rangers, but clean up the destruction before you go. We're going to leave on that one, Nicholas. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Have a very good evening. I promise you there will be no more live streams. We just forgot to talk about this, and I'm glad we did, because this one went on for another hour and 43 minutes. So have a good weekend. I love you guys, and you'll see you in my next video probably on Sunday, and my next live stream will be next Friday. Bye, guys, and subscribe to Joe Geek Show. He is awesome.
Yep. Thanks for having me on. Take care. Have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.